Welcome to the Fertility Now channel. My name is Lauren Brown. I'm the chair of the Integrated Fertility Symposium, and I'm also the clinical director of AccuBalance Wellness Center in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. You're about to listen to an interview I did with Dr. Paul Magarelli. He's a reproductive endocrinologist. He has an IVF clinic in Colorado, and he has done research with acupuncture in an IVF setting. He's written a chapter in a medical textbook on integration, acupuncture, and IVF.
So there's many different ways that by integrating, you're going to expand the appreciation of the role of poor nutrition, poor habits, the toxins we put in, alcohol, tobacco, drugs. It really, I think, empowers the couple to say, like I just did a live tonight, and 5 questions were, I'm getting my IVF, my FET in 5 months, what can I do? Acupuncture, nutrition, nutraceuticals, vitamins, avoiding alcohol, tobacco, drugs, rest, sleep, meditation, movement. That's what I said. You want to know how to prepare? I didn't say, buy drugs. I said, these are the things that will prepare your body to be the cubicle in which I'm going to, the crucible in which I'm going to put all my stuff in, and hopefully a baby comes out.
And it's refreshing because in 2000, this is what we share at AccuBalance and what Chinese medicine doctors share, what you just, those principles, those pillars. And the IVF doctor would say, nonsense, waste your time, money. And here we are in 2021 when we're recording this, and you're saying, this is what you do leading up to your fresh retrieval or your frozen embryo transfer. So yep. It's great. Integration is happening. And when we chatted back in the 2008-ish, 2007-ish, you had this idea, it's one medicine. And it's becoming one medicine. It's great. And so the patients don't have to hide who they're seeing. They see that we're integrative. We have that in Vancouver. We're working with the IVF docs. They're referring to us, we're referring to them, and we're working on the same terrain, this patient, and we're addressing different parts of them to make them whole and healthier.
Yes. And I think what we should state, and I'll do the shout out, is if you're a patient and you're seeing, you're working with an integrative practice, meaning you're working with a Western medicine doc and you're working with a traditional Chinese medicine or Eastern medicine doc, tell your Western medicine doc what you're doing and why. And importantly, traditional Chinese medicine doctors, it's important that you tell your patients that, this combination is augmented or synergistic. It's not just one medicine. So it has to go both directions. And the patient is the pivot point. And the patients have the most to contribute and the most to gain.
I wanted to address something again in your talk where you were sharing about that early embryonic development. That first 8 days comes from the maternal mitochondrial DNA and why preconception is important. I want to know, the question I'm going to ask you is, where do you see it related more to the female? Is it early if it's that first 8 days? And where can it be more attributed to the male?
So the role of maternal mitochondria in the energetics of early embryo development, that's what you're asking. It is exclusively from the mother's follicle that the mitochondria migrate into the cell that's going to end up becoming the embryo. And that is the exclusive place where it comes from. The embryo itself does not have, until 8 days later, the ability to form the mitochondria, which are the batteries of life. Without those batteries, there is no life. And if there is a misappropriation or a deficiency in that energy source, it's hypothesized now that may lead to abnormal embryo development or no embryo development at all. So the microenvironment of the follicle, which is in the macroenvironment of the female, if managed correctly, will provide energetics not only for the follicle itself, which holds the egg, but for the rest of the body, brain, muscle, bones, eyeball. So traditional Chinese medicine is all about developing a healthy state. And I kept saying about this, the microenvironment, that's how you rejuvenate it. So with herbs and acupuncture, blood flow, etc., you're going to augment the possibility of additional energy sources for that growing embryo. So that's the embryo side. So getting the mom in optimal nutrition is there. Here's the crazy kicker for sperm, and it's going crazy now for me. And that is sperm now, I believe, are 50% of the responsibility of miscarriages in the fetus of their partner. And what that says to me, and these are especially studies looking at things like smokers, men who are smokers and that. So even though these sperm look just fine, they swim fine, and they make fertilize an egg, there's some components, which we don't understand exactly what it is, that the male plays a huge role. So for example, the first 3 days after fertilization, if things go awry in that embryo, it's a sperm issue. It is not an egg issue. Now, the next 2 or 3 days, it's an egg issue. And then the last 2 or 3 days before it goes in, it's an embryo issue. So if you have a patient who has very poor fertilization, or worse, they have fertilization but very poor development on all of their eggs and they're young, it's likely a sperm issue. So for men, they got to step up. They're 50% of the equation, and you cannot get to 100, which is a baby, without the other 50%. So I've been challenging all of my acupuncture buddies to do studies with me on males. I haven't had anyone take me up on it, but I'm still challenging people because I believe that if we show, like we did with the Credenda Magarelli acupuncture protocol, that at the males, we can affect the males with just 3 months of therapy, and it changes fundamentally the embryos, the baby, the child. That's where I think the next phase of acupuncture research should go. Did I answer your question?
You did. Because back in the early 2000s, they would say you can't do anything for egg quality. If you're 40, you're as good as 40. Right. And we've talked about there's not all 40-year-olds are equal, so that's a difficult statement. And then there's a biological and chronological age. And then through our discussions over the years in your lectures, it was about the baby house, the follicle, and can we improve that follicular environment, which is now nurturing and supporting this egg, which becomes an embryo. And you've hypothesized that it makes sense from a nutritional point of view and acupuncture and stress reduction and removing the smoke and the toxins from the body. There, you can improve the home which this egg matures in, and those last 100 days seem to be quite important.
Yep, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just want to share that if you're interested in the integrative approach, you can check out CNY Fertility. They have clinics, like I say, throughout the States. Dr. Magarelli's in the Colorado area, and he works with a fabulous fellow of the American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine, Diane Credenda. And obviously, if you're in the Vancouver area, you're welcome to come to my clinic, AccuBalance Wellness Center. Dr. Mag, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Lawrence. It's always good to see you. Thank you.